Welcome to Deep Heights. My name is Deborah. We're going to do what we do here. We're going to take a walk, sitting with spirit, and we're going to sit and talk and feel the books or the flowers. It's my garden. I was just thinking that I love this. I love to do this and to share this. Thank you for being here and sharing this with me. Feels good. I feel like I can breathe. Let's see who's with us today. Who will speak with us today? Cards are quiet. It's the season. It's a quiet season. Coming into winter. Fall and winter. I'm talking to friends and my family about feeling a heaviness, a heavy energy, and because I thought it was just me, I thought I was the one. It was just me that's melancholy all the time, and no, it's not. It's everyone apparently. I don't think I'm melancholy. I just think that I feel things, and it's just a lens through which I see the world. Right now, I'm just kind of sad. The lion just popped out. He's been present in a few readings, talking about feeling sad, and I love C.S. Lewis. He just must be hanging around. He must be hanging around me, because I just feel like that's, talking about feeling sad. When I looked at the card, I just heard that, from Aslan when he says, "Courage, dear heart." Put him back. Courage. The courage to look at the world even though we don't necessarily like what we see, or it's heavy. When we're coming into that winter season, when, we die off, those parts of us die, and we let things go. We go within. I was watching the rain many years ago, not many, but I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and it was really cold, and I was standing at the door, and I was looking out, and and it was cold, and I was just looking at the trees and the plants, and I was like, wow, I wonder how they feel. How do they feel when it's really cold, and how does nature do that? Like, it goes within. We can learn from that. Go to to let go of the things that aren't necessary, to let the things that need to die die. We grow every year, and we have to let things go. And I think there's a certain sadness in that, a melancholy. There's a time for that, seasons. But it's good to remember that it's just a season and not to stay there. I have to remind myself of that, and I need reminders of that, like when the lion came out. Okay, have courage, buck up a little, Okay. That being said, that was sweet. Thank you, Spirit. That was sweet. The elephant. The inner fire. The inner sun. Thinking of a quote from Ishishwalar to Lubitsch. I just read it too. The heart is the inner fire which illumines the sphere of man, I think, is what it says. From Ishishwalar to Lubitsch. Wonderful, brilliant woman. This is the inner fire, the strength, the tree that stands tall in the storm, in the winter, that's covered, half of its tree body is covered in snow. Like if you've been Tahoe, wherever, and there's 40 feet of snow, and you look down and there's 20 feet of pine to the bottom. It's crazy, but this is the strength to withstand the elements, because it's carrying it inside. The inner fire. Generating your own energy with spirit. Creating that with spirit. And having a storehouse for it, Because I talked about before that he's got that fire in his trunk. Trunk. Like a trunk for storage. Like a literal trunk. Not a car boot, but a trunk. You keep, clothes or whatever. No, a storehouse of energy. He carries that fire in his storehouse. He's got reserves. The importance of having reserves, energy reserves, so you can be strong, and you can we can keep moving down the road through the winter. This is a hard road. I talk about that all the time. It's a hard road. How do we walk it nobly? We don't steal from other people. We don't steal energy from the earth, from other people, from animals. How do we create that energy? And also protect it. There's evil people in the world who want your energy. And they do it in the most grotesque of ways. And some of them are like master energy thieves, and they do it with eloquence. I've seen people like store energy in rocks, and they collect negative energy from other people in rocks. Fucking weird. Anyway. Let's see who else is with us. But they store the energy, and then somehow they siphon the energy from the rocks. Not like how people use crystals to deflect energy. No, they like take it and then like keep it. It's fucking weird. It's creepy. Oh, I just got a really creepy feeling. Should I mention that? Okay. The hyena. Speaking of those types who like seem good, but aren't. Trickster energy. Sometimes I like Hyena, but right now I don't really like Hyena because he makes a joke. He thinks it's a joke, the sacred journey. Like, he thinks the road, the journey is a joke. Fool becomes wise in his folly. But does he? No. Does the fool become wise in his folly if he's evil? It makes me think about like Melkor from Silmarillion. He that kind of evil never becomes wise. But was it folly? Is folly evil? Is it different? Maybe. There's no wisdom from Melkor, but this is other people. I feel like um, mockery. This is mockery of you, of your journey, your truth. The moon is like desolate. There's no air, no life of its own. It's dying. It's dead. I've read articles and different theories where it's like supposed to be a new planet, but it's like attached to the Earth, so it can become a planet. I think that it's one way to look at it could be that it's dead, it's dying, it's a dying mother. The Earth is its host. Talking about energy thieves, energy vampires, because they're desolate and they can't create anything of their own, so they need a host. These people can be really charming too. Like sometimes when I've done readings for myself, and I've liked the Hyena energy because he can bring you, like, bid you to the dark side, and you can't really trust him, but you'll have a good time. You know, he's got jokes because he's got a charming little face. It's like, won't you come out and play with me? But he'll attack you in your sleep, siphon your energy. Because see, you're the elephant. You've got the storehouse of energy. You've got the inner fire. You have an inner sun. And the moon just reflects the light of the sun here. It's interesting. Because I feel like some of these energies that are types of people, personality types, uh, it's like they don't feed on joy, or happiness. They don't like happiness. They like sadness and darkness and pain. They feed on the misery. You know, uh, pain helps us to grow. You know, difficult times, feeling miserable, helps us see what we don't want or what we don't like or what we are not. Um, Experiences that are painful, learning lessons, growing up, maturing, all of those difficult emotions and feelings, experiences, but we're able to use them in a positive way, or we should be, naturally, because I don't know why, but we should. get one more. Fox. I love fox energy. You have to be clever like the fox to outwit the hyena. You see, y'all know my camera's not so great, but this card, he's gold. He's golden. He's surrounded in light, and you can see like the orange in the fire because he's illumined. Here I'm speaking of the light as life, not like enlightenment, fucking rainbow body. The ability to create energy with spirit, to create life. If that's just an ability like a brute force, you know, elephant energy could just be brute force. The fox has a direction. He's clever. You know, fox can watch that hyena like, fuck you think you're doing, dumbass? You know? I actually reminds me of a person that I know, really amazing man. I have a lot of respect for him. And he's a body worker too, among other things. And we were talking about transference and energy and clients taking energy, just people taking energy from you. Because when you can create that energy of movement and to not take on or allow other people to take your energy, because they will take it and drain you of it. And he said to me, he said, give them something. And he told me, he said, give them a flower, is what he told me. He said, give them a rose specifically. And that floored me that he had said this specific thing to me, to give them a rose. And he said, so when you do this, you give them something, and you're like, that's all you get, is this. Here, you can have this. And that's it. You know, for the work or in life. And it's helped me because you don't just have to touch people to, you know, people are in relationships with them. It could be their children, their parents, their friends, their family. You could have energy stolen from you unknowingly. You know, these people are fucking evil. And some of them aren't doing it even intentionally. It's just because they're so unaware. But Fox is clever. That's what that reminds me of, that cleverness, that ability to say, okay, you want this from me? You want something from me? Well, here, you can have this. And I don't know if that's helped me or not, or if it could help you, maybe. But Hyena is kind of crazy. He's mad. Like, madness. He's a lunatic. He's intelligent, but he doesn't have any control over it. He's mad. He's like blood drunk. He's blood drunk. That's the exact words that I want to use. He's blood drunk. But you see, Fox is not blood drunk. Fox has a clear mind, a clear heart, a clear head, clear energy. His chakras are aligned. He's balanced. Fox probably does yoga, master yogi, or something cool like that. That's like a really funny image in my head of a fox doing yoga. We have to have humor. Laughter kills tragedy. But again, I was saying, if he was mad, like, what's the difference then? Like, there's a fine line of difference between the hyena and the fox, but there's a difference. Because one is authentic and one is inauthentic. Let's get some tarot. No, I feel like these are like really um, major life themes that I wish I um, could express better or explain better. The High Priestess flipped over. But maybe it's not something that can be explained, it just has to be felt. The camel down there, you know, the camel, and they're in the desert, you know, like the elephant. It carries the fire, the camel carries the water, emotional stability as well here, but how do we have these discussions? And you know, some people are more gifted. There are people way more, you know, I'm not gifted. They're very eloquent speakers, you know, thinkers and writers. But what happens when we're not so eloquent, you know, and we're not gifted? How do we walk the road, you know? How do we be clever? How do we become a fox? How do we outsmart the hyena who's so fucking smart? He's laughing at us, you know? And we need to become a fox. How do we do that? Well, the High Priestess asks us to look inside of ourselves. She can teach us, we can teach ourselves this energy. Um, it's a bow and arrow. She's got a bow and arrow. I got these arrows for protection, and people ask me, where's the bow? I'm the bow. These are my arrows. I am the bow. How do we protect ourselves? You know? We can read books. We can listen to people speak. We can live. That's the only way to learn anything is to live. I don't know. This is becoming a lot. Then it becomes heavy. It becomes very heavy. Like the elephant is a heavy energy because he moves ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. He's a fucking drum, you know? His mind is on fire. Makes me, I always think of Mars when I see this card. Because it's got to be felt. The priestess is the mystery. Nature. Going into nature. Being with nature. When do we have time to be in nature? We're always working. We have to make time. What are we doing as a society when we're always in a building? We're all in buildings. In our homes, in our square building of a home, then we go in our square car on a long fucking rectangle road to another square rectangle parking spot into a square building. Fluorescent lights. And we cut down more trees to create more buildings, more squares. Fucking squares. Fuck a square. Alright. Okay. Let's see what Spirit would like us to know about this hyena. I can hear this thing. I can hear this thing. It's laughing. Because It's like hidden in plain sight. Because you can see the whole face of the moon that we would normally see, but half of it's hidden, but you can still see what's there, so it's hidden in plain sight. Everything, like, fucking laughing at us. The only reason why this fox can sit there like this is because he knows something about the hyena that I don't know, or we don't know. Maybe you do, I don't. But how do we get to this spot where we can sit in our own knowing? Saurian said evil sows the seeds of its own destruction. That's true, but it's still there now. Our evil has within it the seeds of its own destruction, which is true. The star and the hierophant. Healing ourselves with knowledge, with wisdom, learning, reading, learning, history. Both good and bad. From establishments, you can learn from an establishment, university, the church, whatever, things that are less conventional. And the star here, which is like off the beaten path, are needing to learn in different ways. That's what this is. The star with the hierophant. This is learning in unconventional ways. Having to walk without rhythm, learn without rhythm. Learning without rhythm. Only one person would think that was funny. Okay. Because the star is Aquarius energy, and I love, I have some great friends that are Aquarians, but they're fucking crazy. Aquarian energy is kind of mad, you know, like the hyena. He's kind of mad, like a mad scientist, you know, because that energy is like electric and it's unstable almost here. But the Hierophant can give it some stability. This Earth energy can ground the star energy, that electricity from the star. Taurus, you know, the bull can ground that electricity. And actually, in this animal deck, the bull is with the lightning, so that's interesting. The buffalo, I mean. And it, like a Nietzsche, the quote where he says, you know, if you if you stare like long enough into the abyss, it stares back at you. And like if you go to kill monsters, don't become one in the process. But if we're gonna understand evil and outsmart it, we have to understand it and know it. And that means getting pretty fucking close to it. Closer than close. You have to make it your home, kind of. How do we do that and protect ourselves? The High Priestess knows it, and she's got a bow and arrow. She has inner wisdom. She's water. She's the deep. It's intense. And it's important. And I don't think there are answers to this, but it's important that we explore it and we talk about it, because it's real. A real thing. That there are people out there who are fucking evil who mean you no good. And I don't mean just them, the establishment, the them, because, you know, the person who sleeps next to you at night could be an energy vampire. Thief, evil, bad, mean you no good. recognizing that. And I'm not saying, you know, that you need to go like be evil to understand evil, but knowing about it, learning about it, and not becoming crazy in the process. A fox is cool as a cucumber, baby. He's cooler than a refrigerator. He's just like, yeah. I read that book that you're talking about, that you're quoting. I read it 5 times already. Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I understand it. I even know where it came from, you know, 2 centuries ago, whatever. Because he's grounded. Being grounded with the energy, that electric energy of life. That's interesting. I don't know if I'm expressing this clearly. I hope. Maybe it makes sense to you. Or maybe it'll make sense to me at some point in time. Or I'm muffing it up. Because what if there's no getting out of here? You know, like, I don't want to get away from it. I like the earth. You know, I want to get out of here. I don't think the earth is a prison. I don't think my body is a prison. But I don't want to be manipulated either. My mind is not for sale. My body is not for sale. My heart is not for sale. My energy is not for sale. You can't have it unless I give you permission to have it, or I give it to you. You know? It's my choice. My freedom. That's important to me. It should be important to you. Your freedom. Your choice. But it takes work. Hierophant energy is about long, hard fucking days, nights, years, work. Could be a lifetime, lifetimes. Serious. This is a serious energy. You know, he's got the keys. You know, Isis is in there. She's got the crescent and the sword of truth. A lover of truth. Walker of beer with and of truth. The star. That healing energy. It's one of the most beautiful cards ever drawn. I mean, this is just... 17 becomes an 8, which is solar. Fire. Outsmarting the hyena. What does Spirit say with Fox? What would Fox like to say to us? Because I feel like Fox is on the other side of the fence, you know? Fox is... Excuse me. Well, hello. Fox is like a teacher, you know? Can show us and help us become that version of ourselves, you know? I'm not going to say what does the fox say, because what would Fox like to say to us? Can you not sit in my lap and lick your feet? Stop that. Sorry, I'm just kind of staring at the fox. Okay. What would you like to say? How can we help ourselves? How can we... I don't know. What would you like to say to us? feel an odd humor here. I think that's why my humor is kind of. Okay, so 5 cards came out, and they came out 2, 2, and 1. So the first card that came out that I saw was the Sun. It's talking about the solar energy, but this is celebrating the joy of life, you know, the ability to create life. The sun is the great life giver. Without the sun, we wouldn't have life here, not in the way that we know it. The inner sun, the sun it illumines the sphere of man, the inner sun. Something this comes up so much in my readings. I've said it before. Okay, so we have the Hanged Man with the Ace of Wands reversed, and we have the Fool and the Six of Swords. So just give me a second to. I get the feeling that the fox is saying, you know, he can look at Hyena and all of his bullshit shenanigans and everything that he's doing because he knows it's like he's an idiot. That energy. That eventually it's like a trick. You know, it's like a house of mirrors, like a carnival. Hyena's like a carnival. Bells and whistles and food and candies and uh, perfumes and like I just see like something very like heavy fabrics of tents of like velvet, and you go in and it's like heavily perfumed and incensed, and you go and you can hear this music and there are beautiful women and um, mirrors and trickery. Carnival, because Hyena is a carnival. He's a masquerade. He's a joke on his own self. The Hanged Man with the Ace of Wands reversed, that he sees it's like the fox with the seeing it in a different way, that he doesn't need. It's almost like he can be without the fire, you know, because there's no air on the moon and there's no air for the fire, but the Hanged Man represents like that energy that's within, where there's no air needed. So it's Scorpio. For me, it's Libra Scorpio, but uh, fixed, you know, earthy and watery. Doesn't need the air. He can breathe underwater. In a different way than the hyena. And the fool with the Six of Swords. The joy of life, the happiness, the unfolding of spirit. Because the cross is a cube. And you fold this up. It's like dun 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 dun. You know, jokes on who? Okay, joke's on who, hyena? Boom. You know, fox is like, bye. I keep walking my road. I don't have time for your bullshit. The center of the cross is the heart. All of those swords, sorry, Cricket, all those swords are right there at the center of the circle, and meeting at a point. A circle with a point is a symbol of the sun. I was talking about squares earlier, wasn't I? All those squares. There's a circle in the square, circling the square. The fool, circling the square. The beginning from the end. Knowing. There's a tiger biting his leg. That's like the hyena. And look at him, he's not even worried. He's like, I'm not saying but also it doesn't mean that we don't take it serious, you know, because the fool, with this energy, sorry, we must take evil seriously because it's destructive. It's a destructive force. It feeds on life. And once it feeds on that life, it's gone. Life is able to regenerate itself. Uh, the wisdom processes transformation, transition. Emerson, we dive and reappear in new places. Evil can't do that. Evil just, it's just a dead planet. You know? And we have to keep an eye on it. We have to keep an eye on it. But we also can't let it distract us to the point where we can't live in the sun and we can't enjoy life, even when people want to hurt us. It takes me back to my friend telling me to give them something, you know, like, okay, here, you can have this. That's really interesting. This is very interesting to me. I don't know what I've learned or what you've learned, or if I've even made any sense at all. I'm gonna get a card from the sisters. Maybe it makes us think, or it makes you think, consider something new about people. How do you protect yourself? How do you view the world? How do we learn about, or even accept that about other people, or even accept it about ourselves? Let's get a sister. Let's get a sister on it. Maybe they can shed some light on this. Oh, that's interesting. So we have enchantment, happiness, and divination. Um, Divination, I feel like, is what I'm doing with tarot. You know, for me, like how I see truth and talk to spirit in a different way. And it's an extension of me. The cards are an extension of spirit of me, and we become, you know, alive together, and we talk together. With enchantment, it's like the hyena. You can become enchanted by the tales of the hyena, by the journey that he could take you on. Is different than the authentic journey of fool. Um, And Hyena knows that. Said that hyenas are charming. This is a charming energy. Could make you feel happy. That happiness. For me personally, this is where I find my happiness amongst other places. Because it feels good. It feels pure. That's mine. I don't know what yours is. I'm going to stop here because I've talked for 45, almost 46 minutes. And read some books. Read some books. Study hard. Make it a study. Study yourself. Study other people. Study evil. Study truth. Find it. Be a fox. Be cunning. Be clever. Be quick. Be quiet.